gentili ospiti, ci sono immagini che non si dimenticano, voci che restano nella coscienza. Restano nella coscienza anche quando lo schermo si spegne. Il nostro prossimo ospite ha raccontato la storia dove brucia, dove la libertà è messa alla prova, dove il dolore non può essere ignorato. È un regista candidato all'Oscar, è un autore di film documento come Winter on Fire, Christ from Syria, opere che hanno commosso il mondo, opere che hanno testimoniato la forza di popoli che non si sono arresi. Ma il suo cinema non è solo denuncia, è cura, è memoria che diventa coscienza, è narrazione che rigenera. Nel suo sguardo la macchina da presa diventa un ponte tra le ferite del mondo e la speranza dell'umanità. Signore e signori, Evgeny Afineevsky.
Thank you for everybody to being here until the end. Thank you for organizers to having us here. I just want to say to Miriam, thank you for your important testimony, because all of us here are parents, and we need to remember, every morning we want to wake up and see a smile of our child. I was planning to start differently, but I want to tell that my last movie, I was working together with Papa Francesco, who been behind 3 of my movies. Francesco, that I did in 2018, 2019, 20, Freedom on Fire, and Children in the Fire. When we were working on Children in the Fire, Holy Father said to me, children are not numbers. They all have faces, they all have names, they all have stories, and each child is sacred. So please remember that. You know, people asking me why I do documentaries, and the answer is simple. We all have calling. For me, making documentaries and documenting the history is not about hobby or job. It's simply calling. Because I want to educate people. I want to document history. I want to bring something from different parts of the world to the mainstream and to give voices to the voiceless, to bring spotlights to the issues that sometimes media neglected. Pope Francis was traveling the world to different places, and he always had a pool of journalists with him. But it's not was necessary that he was going to the places where the whole Catholic world was there. He was traveling to the places where people need him to bring the issues up, to bring the spotlight to the issues. And he did a lot of changes. He was caring about big human family, and he was welcoming everybody. And he was using media who was traveling with him to bring the spotlight on the issues. I, using my camera, my storytelling ability to bring light to these issues, to bring spotlight, to give the voice to the people who need to be heard. In my last movie, I gave voice to Ukrainian kids. It is those who've been abducted by Russians, or those who've been under the Russian missiles, under the rubbles of the building. In my last movie, I have kids who've been in coma, who've been under the rubbles and survived. Some of them lost limbs, but today they learned to live again, and they're happy. I think for me, these kids resembling something very important. They're giving voice to those who unfortunately not survived. So for me, documenting the history and giving voice is something that I cherish, something that I can share with the world, something that I can make people to learn from the mistakes, that we cannot repeat them. And it's also important because sometimes governments, dictators, they trying to rewrite the history in order to avoid and mask the crimes, in order that we as big human family, we will lose the track and will do again and again and repeat again the mistakes. So for me, documenting the history as documentarian is really important, because I will try to prevent this rewriting of the history. Today, Russia rewriting books. I witnessed in my history, I am 50 plus, I saw different places in the world where history been rewritten and rewritten and rewritten. And it's a dangerous thing. We're talking about AI, we're talking about technology that can damage us, but there is much more bigger danger. We are not learning from the past. Today, we are not learning from the past. And for me, as a documentarian, who not binded by the networks, who are today literally doing everything what their bosses or main shareholders who are affiliated with the politics dictating. I am not bounded by their rules. I'm a free spirit who can document things and who can give the voices, human voices, and bring it through the big screen and try to change something. For me, each movie is a call for action. For me, it's a AAA, it's AAA. It's advocacy, activism, and it's action. For me, each of my movies, by giving voice or by bringing a spotlight, makes something that I can either inspire people to do good, like in movie Francesco. Together with the Pope Francis, I gave spotlight for over 40 different things, from genocide to Holocaust, to interfaith, to the sexual abuse in the church, and to the separation of kids in our border during the first Trump administration. And I remember how, I'm giving an example of what's happened. After the premiere of the movie in the United States, some toy maker called to me and said, I saw these kids in the cages on the American border. I imagined what will be if my kids will be there. It's horrible. The childhood taken from these kids. Can I give something from myself? And immediately, a few months later, 16,000 toys were distributed among these kids in all these shelters. And examples like these from my movies, I have a lot. So for me, I'm trying to bring this good through the messaging and through the voices. And that's how movies are important today, because we are surrounded by the propaganda. When the war in Ukraine started, and again, we need to put two things separately. The war started in 2014. 20th of February 2014, that's when the war started. The full-scale invasion started in the 24th of February 22. So when the 22 started, the full-scale invasion, the former Minister of Defense, Reznikov, said a very specific thing. He said, Russia attacked Ukraine in 4 different fronts: earth, air, cyber, and media. So we need to remember that today, for false and lies, we don't need visas. The propaganda passing the borders of European Union or America without visa, it's piercing all these borders, it's piercing our ears. So for me, as a documentarian who is able to bring the truth, who is not playing by anybody's rules, no networks, I'm able to deliver the important messages of the people from all over the world. And I cherish this moment, because that still allows me to have a freedom of my speech and allow people to be heard loud across the globe. It allows people to take a note, learn, and take an action. And that's why today documentaries from the independent filmmakers are cherishable and important. And as an example, this year, in the beginning of this year, during the Oscars, 5 from the Oscar-nominated movies, 4 not had studio distribution. They were independent, because they are free spirits that were created across the globe and had a very important messages. Thank you.
Thank you, Evgeny. We are very proud of your what you have been saying. So it was a great speech, and we want to give you this small gift, as part of the Human Economic Forum, as a leader of humanity. This is for you.